Chairs No Waiting, episode number 560, Mayberry like it's 1999. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the fine folks over at WeaversDepartmentStore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and check out some of the great stuff they've got for Christmas. You can get Mayberry First by Randy Turner, a compendium of historical essays on classic television series. Guys, it's a good book, even though that sounds like it's a lecture. Head over and check that out. Head over and check out the Foley's Market section, where you can get Mayberry bacon and coffee and all kinds of stuff as well at WeaversDepartmentStore.com. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of this episode of Two Chairs No Waiting is Rebecca Spears. Lydia in the chat room. Thank you, Lydia. And thank you for being here with me on this heading into the Christmas season. If you're listening to it this time of year, just having a lot of fun here at Weavers, because Weavers is right back there. My wife's been working. So anyway, we've been busy, and that's good. Fairly busy, so I'm happy. But I haven't been so busy that I didn't want to spend some time here in Mayberry talking to you, because what I've been doing is I've been rummaging through my filing cabinet. And some of you guys, if you're watching the video version, you can see behind me back here, the filing cabinet is still piled with things because I've been pulling them out and looking at them. And what I ran across is some articles from 1999. 1999. I have all kinds of newspaper articles and magazine experts and just stuff like that. I'm not going to try to read them all to you, but I wanted to kind of share them with you because it's kind of fun. It's like when you're looking through your files or some stack of papers and something, and you run across something from, I don't know, 20 years ago. Is that 20? Yeah, 20 years ago. It's just kind of neat because, wow, 20 years ago, oh my goodness, it kind of hurts when you think about it like that. But in 1999, we got some really cool things here. So I'm going to show you those. We got a great report from Randy Turner coming up after I'm finished talking, and we're just going to have fun. So sit back and enjoy yourself, and let's enjoy the ride. The first thing we're going to talk about here is a donation that Andy Griffith gave. So Andy Griffith gave a mighty neighborly donation. Actor Andy Griffith, who once kept the streets of Mayberry safe as Sheriff Andy Taylor, is now protecting the wilds beyond the fictional TV town. In Virginia, on the headwaters of the Northwest River, he, Andy, has donated 319 acres of forest wetlands to the Nature Conservancy. Wow, isn't that nice? Mr. Griffith's donation shows generosity and vision, says Michael Lipford, the director of the Conservancy Virginia's chapter. As a primary source of drinking water for the city of Chesapeake, it's very important to keep the Northwest River clean, healthy, and protected. In this place of dark, quiet waters, the riverbank is lined with cypress and tupelo trees, and fish and frogs and ducks are plentiful, as are a diverse collection of reptiles and amphibians. Herons squawk at the occasional human intruder, whether fisherman or paddler. The wetlands of the Northwest River are home to 18 rare plants, including silky camellia, elongated something, lobelia. I should have read this first, and winged sea fox. The land donated by Mr. Griffith is in addition to the Conservancy's Northwest River Preserve, which now spans some 541 acres. Wow, Andy gave 319 of that 541. Over the past decades, the chapter has also protected and transferred 2,700 acres to the Virginia Department of Conservation. Isn't that nice? So this is from the Nature Conservancy. It's a magazine that somebody provided this to me. I didn't get it, but this is from April 1999. So Andy, thank you very much for that. That was neat, I thought. And so then as I kept looking around, I found this other article from the Orlando Sentinel. That was a Sunday, May 16th, 1999. It says Mayberry 101 is a studious look at a classic television show, at a classic show. Okay, so this is from 1999, guys. It says what it is a cult. That's how it starts. I'm not too sure about that part. But it starts off, what it is a cult. Every day, thousands of devotees gather religiously around their television sets to watch reruns of the Andy Griffith Show, sharing the Mayberry Gospel. Singly or in groups, they worship a syndicated series that left primetime more than 3 decades ago. They repeat lines of dialogue to one another as if they were part of the mantra. They have festivals and pageants where they meet and dress up like the show's characters. Churches in North Carolina and Alabama offer Bible study classes based on the series. If the show's 249 episodes comprise the Mayberry canon, there's a growing body of commentary and analysis, not to mention cookbooks, to go along. Now, the latest from this cottage industry is Mayberry 101, Behind the Scenes of a TV Classic by Neal Brower. Now, it is a great book. If you haven't gotten it, definitely something you might enjoy getting. But Mayberry 101 from Neal Brower is a great book. Really is a great book. Weavers does carry it, but that is not the reason I'm telling you that. So let's get back to the story. The Andy Griffith Show was rated in the Nelson's top 10 for each of its 8 seasons on CBS from 1960 to 1968 and spun off 2 other series, Gomer Pyle, USMC, and Mayberry RFD. Since it left primetime, reruns have never gone off the air. The Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club has more than 1,000 chapters. Now, this was in 1999. We have more than that now. They have 1,000 chapters around the world, and reunion shows and retrospectives are cable television staples. The fan club sells trading cards and figures of cast members in plaster and plastic, suitable for shrines, mantles, or coffee tables. Last year, one of the show's websites was named by Yahoo as one of the nation's top comedy sites. Yay, that was ours. That was Mayberry.com, ladies and gentlemen. That was us. Woo! We were named that. Neal Brower is an ordained United Methodist minister. This is a quote from him. He says, Mayberry is my passion. I love the Andy Griffith Show. I grew up watching the Andy Griffith Show. It was on television throughout my teenage and young life. In 1988, Brower developed a 10-week community college course based on the series, which he has since taught more than 20 times in 6 colleges throughout North Carolina. A graduate of the University of North Carolina at Charlotte and Duke University, Brower turned his research into a regular column for The Bullet, the newsletter of the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club in 1991. Each essay analyzed a single episode from the series and included recollections from people involved in the production. The column, Professor Brower's Class, grew into this new book. Brower provides narrative accounts of nearly 80 episodes, largely based on interviews with the scriptwriters and supplemented by comments from directors, producers, and actors who played bit parts. Harvey Bullock, who wrote many of the scripts, has one explanation for the series' religious following. This is a quote from Harvey. The writers were able to present Mayberry as a small Eden, he said, which time and the cares of the world had passed by. At more than 500 pages and billed as Volume 1, Neal, it was billed as Volume 1 20 years ago. There's not a Volume 2, Neal. He never gets asked that, I'm sure. Poor Neal. Back to the story. This exhaustive paperback is really for true believers. Yet even for these readers, some vital information is missing from Brower's book. Conspicuously absent are the memories of the star who played such a large part in the series' success, Andy Griffith, Don Knotts, and Ron Howard. This may not be a coincidence. Unlike the show's fans, the three actors were able to put the show behind them, all moving on to successful television and, in Howard's case, directing. Frances Bobbier, who played Aunt Bee, passed away more than a decade ago. Still, as with other enduring faiths, there's a mixture of myth and reality about the Andy Griffith Show. During the turbulent 1960s, the evening news was dominated by a series of scenes of overweight Southern sheriffs beating and hosing civil rights demonstrators. But in prime time, Sheriff Andy Taylor was slender, gentle, soft-spoken man who didn't even carry a gun and who seemed to live in a simpler era. You think all Southern sheriffs were chubby? Wow, who is this guy? Mark Pinsky. Not buying that, buddy. Couldn't have been every sheriff. Of course, they were all portrayed that way on TV, except Andy. That's true. They were all Buford Pusser people, weren't they? All right, let's go. It helped. He goes on to say it helped that no black people lived in Mayberry, which is not true. And the few who passed through as crowd extras did not speak. Well, that's kind of true. I guess I have to agree. But the 60s are now a decade of the past, and the series' popularity today, I think, relies on the beguiling charm of Griffith's character. He was a man with infinite patience and a profound understanding of the human nature, a single father who respected women and cared about the feelings of others in a way that was folksy rather than preachy. Although whipping was mentioned, Andy never actually hit the young son on screen. See, this guy's not from the South. He's not from the South. This boy has never had a whipping, evidently. Now, I think I had a few when I was growing up. Anyway, let's go along here. A whipping is a spanking, by the way, for anybody that doesn't understand what that is. A spanking is not the same as a whipping, like an actual whip. It is a spanking. Let's go along here. He taught moral lessons by example with humor and through indirection. I don't know what that means. So it is not surprising that some of the show's fans forget that the lawman with the endearing drawl sometimes made mistakes. Andy didn't walk on water. He just fished in it. With the exception of Star Trek and possibly Seinfeld, the Andy Griffith Show is the most deconstructed television program in the history of television. We didn't know what we were making and that we were making history. And we never dreamed the episodes we wrote would be watched and analyzed for years to come, said writer Everett Greenbaum. What is ironic is that this icon of rural South, this idyllic portrayal of Southern life in a town, was produced and written by men whose sensibility was largely urban and Jewish. There's a quote here. Andy always wondered how a Swede from San Francisco and a Jew from Buffalo were able to write the Andy Griffith Show, said Greenbaum. I should have told him that God wanted it that way because I can't explain it otherwise. As Richard Link, Andy's manager and the series co-producer, recalled, when the time came to choose the line producer and the day-to-day supervisor for the series, the two finalists were both New York bred and Jewish. At first, I said to myself, this sounds a bit funny. How could they know about the Andy Griffith Show and the South? Somehow they could, and multitudes have rejoiced ever since. So that's an article this is from the Orlando Sentinel from Sunday, May 16th, 1999. All right, so that's my second story. Woo! Hope you guys are enjoying this. Now, I found another thing I thought was interesting. Now, maybe this is because we still sell these at Weaver's. Maybe this is the reason, but I thought this was interesting. So let me read this to you. I found this. This is actually from 1997, June 8th. So we're skipping 2 years ahead. Andy Griffith. This is it was a cassette. Now it's a CD too. A CD and a cassette. Oh, they had CDs and cassettes then. Wow, 97, I wasn't sure. So let me tell you what this says. It says, what it is talk, funny talk. Pure and simple and effortless charm, homespun wisdom of Andy Griffith's recordings and appearances on stage and screen, both big and little, made him a household name. That's particularly true of Griffith's hugely popular role as Sheriff Andy Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show from 1960 to 68. But 6 years prior to that show, nearly a decade-long reign, Andy, he had already starred twice on Broadway and in 4 motion pictures, released a bushel of albums, and earned a top 10 hit with a spoken word treat, What It Was Football. Andy has prevailed as one of America's premier charmers and storytellers with a natural wit and wisdom unsurpassed by anyone else since the immortal Will Rogers. Now, this is an article advertising the Andy Griffith, an American original, which you can still get at Weaver's. You get a CD, and believe it or not, you can get cassettes. Now, we don't have very many of these, so you have to get them. We may have more cassettes than CDs. If you have a cassette player, head over to Weaver's and get you one, because they're only $4, and you can get What It Was Football. You can get The Fishing Hole. You get Cindy. Let's see. You get other ones in here. I'm trying to, some of them from Hamlet from the Andy Griffith Show, The Discovery of America, Andy and Cleopatra, and you get the theme of the Andy Griffith Show as well. Cool little article I found. What is this called? Parade Magazine. Was in Parade Magazine, June 8th, 1997. Can you believe that? Anyway, you can get these over at Weaver still, but look at this. I kept this. That's kind of amazing. This is 22 years ago as I record. All right. Last article I got for you. And then we'll get to hear from Randy. I'm not going to be able to read all this one. But this one is about the Mayberry Bible study. The Mayberry Bible study. The Bible according to Barney Fife. The Bible according to Barney Fife. And this is from USA Today Weekend Edition from January 8th, 1999. The Bible according to Barney Fife? Well, yes. A homespun weaving of wisdom from Barney and his fictional Mayberry friends, along with that predominantly from the New Testament teachings, is packing the fellowship halls at Twickenham Church of Christ in Huntsville, Alabama. That's right here where I'm from, guys. That's where I'm coming to you from. Every week, as many as 200 parishioners get together to watch episodes of The Andy Griffith Show projected in life size on the wall. This isn't a gathering of Nick at Night devotees. Rather, the crowd is intrigued by the TV program's timeless values, says Joey Fann, 33, who started these Finding the Way Back to Mayberry fellowship sessions, along with fellow church member Brad Grasham. Many of these people grew up watching the show, says Fann, who has kicked off a new series of 8 weekly Wednesday sessions from February the 24th. It's also really cool to see teens come in here and say, this is a great show. The show gets discovered and rediscovered, said Joey. Buzz has been building since Fann posted material at www.barneyfife.com on the web. More than 24 church leaders from Georgia to New Mexico have contacted him about starting similar discussion groups. What do Andy Griffith and his son Opie have to do with scriptures? Plenty, according to the congregants. They gathered one recent evening to watch the episode Opie the Birdman and found its values made sense for their religious-inspired lives. It's a simple story about making amends, and it's one of Fann's favorite. Andy cautions Opie to be careful with his new slingshot. We all know that. The boy promises he will, but then he aims at a tree and accidentally kills the mother bird. Heartbroken, he raises those baby birds, heeding his father's guidance about taking responsibility. At the end of the episode, Andy reminds Opie of his promise to let the birds go. One by one, Opie takes them out and says his goodbyes. In the audience, Lynn Brooks could relate. He had to let go of his 23-year-old son, Jason, who recently got married. He tells about a 3-page letter he wrote to his son before the big wedding day. Brooks needed to let Jason know that his life would be changing, but that he had his father's blessings. He wrote of the pride in his son's accomplishment. Jason was elected national president of the Junior Cattlemen's Association at 17 years old. These early achievements, he wrote, were just the beginning. You try to remind your son of that, Brooks said, and tell him it doesn't stop there. Still, it's painful for a parent to let go. There's nothing you can't read, or nothing you can read or see that can prepare you for that. Brooks tells the visibly moved audience, all you know is eventually they'll go. And it'll either be a blessing or it'll tear at you. But there was a message for Brooks and the parishioners in the episode's last scene. The cage sure looks awfully empty, don't it, Paul? Opie asked after the birds are gone. Yes, son, it sure does. But don't the trees seem nice and full? The birds sing out in their new homes in the trees outside Opie's window. This is again from 1999 about the Mayberry Bible study that Joey Fann started here in Huntsville. If you are interested in more about that, he wrote a book that was called A Way Back to Mayberry, Lessons from a Simpler Time. We have some of those at Weaver's, but they're limited supplies, and I don't think they're printing them anymore. We're not been able to get them. These are the ones that Joey actually had himself, and I got them from him. So if you would like to do that, head over to Weaver's and check it out. Or just head over to barneyfife.com, and you can download the lesson plans yourself. They're great. They're absolutely great. That's what I use for the Mayberry Bible Study podcast. And it's what I've used on the cruises and when we do our get-togethers. So if you're interested, go and check out barneyfife.com. All right, guys, that is what I had for you. Now let's go and hear from Randy Turner.
Welcome to This Week in Mayberry History, a report by special correspondent Randy Turner of the Gomer and Cooper Pyle Comic Book Literary Guild of the Mayberry Historical Society.
Morgan Brittany is best known for her role in the conniving world depicted in the television series Dallas. And interestingly, she also played a conniving character as a child actor in Mayberry. Morgan was born Suzanne Capito in Hollywood on December the 5th, 1951. She used her given name during her career as a child actress. Suzanne was first seen in national television at the age of 5, in a bit part in an episode of the anthology series Playhouse 90, in a story about Mark Twain. Just 5 days later, her second TV appearance aired, an episode of Sea Hunt, in which she played a child trapped in an underwater cave. In 1960, Suzanne made the first of an eventual 3 appearances in episodes of The Twilight Zone. She appeared in 3 more series the following year, then in 1962 made her film debut as Baby June in the musical Gypsy. With music by Jules Stein and lyrics by Stephen Sondheim, the film was a hit, with Suzanne playing the character based on the actress June Havoc as a child. In 1963, Suzanne had an uncredited role in Alfred Hitchcock's film The Birds, as a child attacked by birds outside her school. She appeared in numerous TV series, such as Rawhide, Gunsmoke, My Three Sons, and Daniel Boone. She appeared twice as the character Maddie Dawes in two 1965 episodes of Lassie. The season opener of each season of The Andy Griffith Show always centered on Opie. The 8th and final season opener was Opie's First Love, which aired in 1967. Suzanne played Mary Alice Carter, who agreed to go to a party with Opie only to break her date when she got what she thought was a better offer from the vain Fred Simpson. By the way, Fred was played by the same actor who had played Opie's friend Trey Bowden during season 4 of the Black and White years. After a couple of more episodic television appearances in 1968, Suzanne was having trouble being cast, as her resume obviously consisted of juvenile roles. After concentrating on finishing high school, Suzanne changed her name to Morgan Brittany to make a fresh start of her acting career. At the age of 18, she joined the dancing troupe supporting Gene Kelly in his Vegas show, Gene Kelly's Wonderful World of Girls. When the show closed, she appeared in national television for the first time under her new stage name in a 1971 episode of Love, American Style. Morgan then moved to New York City. In 1972, Morgan had her second role as an adult in an episode of Bridget Loves Bernie, but she worked in New York primarily as a model. She became the spokesperson for several products, including Ultra Bright toothpaste and Maybelline Cosmetics. In 1974, she filmed a small role in The Day of the Locust as Vivian Lee, the star of Gone with the Wind, and whom Morgan did resemble. The film was not released until 1975. It was the first of 3 times she would play Lee. That same year, she was hired to be the face of a Japanese cosmetics company, leading her to move to Tokyo, where she lived from 1974 to 1976. She returned to the United States during the bicentennial and resumed her acting career, and she did so by once again playing Vivian Lee. She played the character in a supporting role in the 1976 film Gable and Lombard. Morgan played Lee again in another small part in the 1980 made-for-television movie The Scarlett O'Hara War. Telling the story of actresses battling to win the role, Morgan appears only at the end of the film as the woman who was eventually cast in the famed role. That same year, Morgan met her future husband, who was working as a stuntman when she guest starred in an episode of The Dukes of Hazzard. Her brief role in the Scarlett O'Hara War led to her being auditioned for and then winning the role of the scheming Catherine Wentworth in the hit series Dallas. Her character in Dallas is unquestionably the role for which she's best known. However, she did take a hiatus from the series to star in her own series, Glitter, though it lasted only half a season. Morgan's last role was a small part in the little-remembered 2007 film Americanizing Shelley. Morgan now works primarily as a conservative commentator. But that's it for this week. As always, thanks for listening. And remember to take Andy's advice and go out there and act like somebody.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you for that great report. All kinds of information I did not know about Morgan Brittany. I didn't realize she had been in the Twilight Zone episodes. If you want to make sure you don't miss anything that Randy's doing on the internet, send him an email at turnersgrade@gmail.com, turnersgrade@gmail.com, and he'll make sure you don't miss out on any of what he's doing out on the web. Folks, that is basically what I had for you. I've got one little piece of personal stuff. My birthday is coming up, and one of our listeners and one of our patrons, Lydia in the chat room was nice enough to provide a birthday card for me that has giraffes on the front. There's like 6 of them, all sticking their heads up in the air. And she says, boy, giraffes are selfish. Stretch out the fun as long as you can. So thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you for that. That's very nice of you. I really do appreciate it. Folks, I want to thank you for being here as well. And if you'd like to support the podcast, I would really appreciate you to head over to patreon.com/2chairs and join in the support. You can give $1, $2, $100, $1 million, whatever you think it's worth, and help support the show. That would be great. But whatever you do, I would love to hear from you. If you give me a call at 888-684-8415 and tell me that, hey, I just started being a patron, that would be awesome. A great birthday present for me. So whatever you do, though, have fun in Mayberry. And I hope you enjoy some of these blasts from the past from 20 years back. And I hope you enjoyed some of these as I'm rummaging through my filing cabinets. So, folks, until next time, we'll see you right here on 2 Chairs. Good night, everybody.